And we are live. We want the gold, sucker. We want the gold, sucker.
just noticed the mic was off. Great. um, and that, I mean, and that's unfortunate. Like it's unfortunate that the WWE, again, my perception of it outside looking in, is treating these guys so terrible just because they were at a different promotion. So if you really want to do better, be respectful of these guys and bring them down to NXT where they can actually get some shine, and as opposed to being, I don't know, whatever they're doing on the main roster. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents about it, guys. That's my 2 cents about it. Um, so in any event, Thursday's gonna pretty much be about AEW going forward. So without further ado, let's actually just let's go. Let's do this full throttle, baby. I need to get a plug for that or something like that. Um, Overall, I enjoyed, just like last week, I immensely enjoyed AEW. The matches were very fluid. Like as soon as as soon as the intro came, we had we had a match already like starting, and I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was SCU coming down the ring. Yeah, it was SCU coming down the ring. They were doing their whole SCU song and dance, and then the Lucha Brothers just kind of like lamb blast them and start taking them out. And then they, Pentagon uses a muscle buster. Well, not a muscle buster, but I guess it kind of looked like a muscle buster. But on Christopher Daniels to make him out of the tournament, and then we had Scorpio Sky in there, and it was just that whole sequence at the very beginning was something that was unique. We didn't have like a background story or anything like that. It was just like, bam, we're right into the action going in. No nonsense. Let's get it done. We only got 2 hours to put on a great show. Let's go. And this match didn't disappoint. Just like the private party match last week, this match was amazing. I Scorpio Sky. I've heard a lot of great things about Scorpio Sky, but I've never really got to see him like go. Um, Frankie Kazarian is probably one of my favorites out of this entire roster, and that's just because like I liked him all the way back to the Suicide days, and I know he hates when I always reference him in Suicide. I know, Frankie. I know, man. I remember you telling me that, but it's the truth, man. It was one of my favorite characters. I enjoy his work. I like how he works in the ring. But seeing Scorpio Sky and highlighting him and wrestling without without his tennis shoes on was pretty cool. And the crowd was eating it up, which was even made it even better. The Philly crowd was just like eating it up. It was great to see the throwback of throwing something into the crowd and the crowd throwing it back, and the security people not getting all crazy about it, and everyone being respectful. Like I absolutely loved that piece to it, when Scorpio Sky threw his tennis shoe out to the crowd. But really good. The match was amazing. I mean, what can I say? It was amazing. I enjoyed it. Like I was just sitting back and just like in awe. Like I wasn't going for one team or the other, but I enjoyed it, and I thought they did a great job. I thought that they were foreshadowing a storyline between the Lucha Brothers and SCU. We don't know exactly why SCU is getting uh, or why they're attacking, or it's not, sorry, why the Lucha Brothers are attacking SCU, but it's in the back of our mind that we're going to see some interaction between those two tag teams, and I love it. I love it. I thought commentary, especially on this match here, explaining what and keeping us updated on Christopher Daniels, did a great job. And the commentary has, that's been one of my critiques from the very beginning. It is just continually, week after week after week, gotten better. Excalibur looks like he finally feels like he fits in with the rest of the two. I love that Tony Schiavone he's being respectful of JR, but at the same time he's owning it, and I love it. Like it reminds me of the Brain, Schiavone, and I forgot the other guy's name, but it just reminds me of that crowd there, and I love it. Like I know I say that a lot with AEW, that it reminds me so much of WCW, the look of the feel and everything. But I think that the more that you get back to that, like that before pre, not I mean, I know it's completely different, but just that nostalgia for me right there is what was the best part of wrestling. I know a lot of people say no, it was the Attitude Era. No, this is what this was the catalyst of the Attitude Era. This is why it was so great, because it was believable. It was literally where the big boys play. Like, it was just no nonsense, believable and fun at the same time. The wrestlers gave just as much to the crowd as the crowd gave back to the wrestlers. It was reciprocated, and I love that. Like, I absolutely love that, and I think that that's where we need to go. That's where we need to go back to. SCU picks up the victory on this one. They advance to the next round, and these tag team matches are, they're not just putting them on for show. These tag team matches are for the tournament, and I think they're doing a great job with it. The next tag team match that we had in this one was Jurassic Express versus the Lucha Brothers. I was expecting to have Luchasaurus be in here, but I don't know if this is like a work or not, but there was something that was wrong with him. I think it was like an elbow or knee injury that they said that he had, and so it was just Marco Stunt versus or Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy, excuse me, versus the Lucha Brothers. And right off the bat, Lucha Brothers gonna win. It's gonna be a squash match. It's not even gonna be competitive. Like, that was a lot of our mindsets, not just mine, but I was just like, man, this match isn't gonna be any good. And no, like, this match was amazing too. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness, like Marco Stunt was doing some crazy things. Aside from the whole flossing in the beginning and stuff like that, I get that. He's just trying to get your gimmick stuff out of the way. But the actual the thing that I liked about both of these teams is that they were both using like actual tag team moves, and I love that. And I like this is what tag team wrestling is about. Like, this is like some Legion of Doom stuff going on here, man. Like, it's just the ring psychology is there, the the enthusiasm for wrestling in a tag team is there. Like, it was just great. It was great. It was a solid like 20 minutes of wrestling between the two. At one point, I thought Marco Stunt was actually going to pin Pentagon Jr. I mean, that's how like shocking I thought that this was gonna get. I was like, man, it's gonna throw the whole SCU angle right out the window, just because like like they look like they're gonna actually win. So I like that. Like, keep that up, AEW. I mean, I know you guys don't need anything from me, but I'm just saying, outside looking in, I think you guys are doing a great job of just shining and highlighting your talent. And I stressed this earlier, and I want to stress it again. I love the aspect that we don't see these guys every single week. Like, I like the fact that that on the main show they're kind of interchanged, to kind of give them a break, which I like that, and I respect that. It keeps them fresh, it keeps them limber. Hopefully, keeps the injuries down, especially because the roster is so small compared to other promotions right now. So I think that that's a great idea. Like, just keep that up. Lucha Brothers end up inking a victory out on this one here, and I want to say, I'm gonna talk about this a little bit later, um, but before the AEW show, I got a notification on YouTube that AEW Dark was going to start, and I find that interesting. AEW Dark, like, I really do. Like, it's kind of the equivalent to Superstars in a way, where it's like the dark matches of the event, um, but it has a little bit of a twist, which I'll talk about. But the main thing that I want to talk about in this particular segment here that I liked is that I got to see the Lucha Brothers, and I can't remember who exactly it was that they were fighting. But Ray Phoenix did this crazy move that I'd never seen in my entire life, and I absolutely loved it. I marked out when I saw it complete. I think it was SCU that they were fighting. It was like maybe like a 6-man tag or something like that, or 12-man tag or something. But he did this move where Pentagon had one of the guys on the ropes, and Phoenix was on the turnbuckle, and he tight ropes but runs and tight ropes and kicks the dude in the face, and as he's doing it, he's like adios amigo, and he just kicks him, and I'm like, yo, this is great. Like the moves that these guys come up with is just insane. um and that wasn't even the best move of the night. But I just want to say, like, I like that move. I definitely enjoy that move, and you keep again. This was reminding me of the days of or not NWO, but the days of WCW when they very first hour they were kicking off with the cruiserweights, and the cruiserweights had like all these crazy moves. Like, I like it. Y'all keep it up. Keep up the good work, because that's what we do. And then we had from there, I think that was pretty much it for the tag teams for the night. Eventually got to the women's tag team, or sorry, the women's tag team. Not here, wrong promotion. We got to the women's championship match. Now, going into this match, I was skeptical, like real skeptical, because for me, I didn't understand why Britt Baker was in line for a title shot. And moreover, I I'm wondering that if the champion is fighting one on one, if it's automatically considered a title match. And if it is, I like it, because that's how it used to be back in the day. Like when the champion fought a one on one match, like, was it? No, I don't think Razor had the title, but by then. I don't think he did. But I do remember that there was like an Intercontinental Championship match where they were on Prime or like the equivalent to Superstars on Saturday morning, and the quote unquote jobber or enhancement talent actually beat the champion, and the title changed hands. And I like that. Like, I like that because it makes every match important, and I like that. And I think that's also like AEW is doing a great job at like focusing on that concept, that every match that you have, whether it's a singles match or whether it's a tag team match or whether it's a trio match, every single one of those matches are important to your record. And it it makes the ownership of your brand, of your career, that important. And not just foreshadow too much, we got that in one of the matches towards the end of the night, which I'm going to talk about too. But we had Riho versus Britt Baker. I was worried that Britt Baker was going to end up winning the championship, because and I should have known better, because AEW's been doing a pretty good job at things making sense. Um, but I thought that, hey, Britt Baker owns part of the company, maybe they're gonna switch the titles there. But I'm thinking to myself, like, if Britt Baker ever takes that title away, like, she's got to be a complete full heel. Like last week when I saw her wrestle in that that mixed tag, that Frankenstein tag team match, when she slapped on the I think she calls it the lockjaw, when she, like, the way that she looked when she grabbed onto it, like the mandible claw, like she just looked like evil incarnate. And I just, like, to me, I was like, yes, Britt Baker has to be a heel. She has to be a heel. Like, it's just, she's got to be a heel. That's just it. She's gonna win the title. She's got to be heel. So that's why I stuck with Rio. And this was a great competitive match. It went on, I want to say like 12 or 13 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. And I love it. AEW lets the women wrestle. Like, and even in dark matches, they let them wrestle. Imagine that. a 2 hour show, and you're giving the women equal amount of time to wrestle as the men wrestle. Like, I like that. That's how it should be. We shouldn't have like 5 to 8 minute matches for the women. Let them wrestle, let them go. Um, and and again, I like it that the wrestlers are smart about who they're fighting against. Towards the end of this match here, Rio was in a predicament. Britt Baker had her in the kind of the crossface. So the crossface, yeah, I think she had her like in a crossface where arms were back, and she was about to put the lockjaw on her, but Rio kept her mouth shut, and then she was kind of moving her mouth around, kept it shut, kept moved it around so that she couldn't get the lockjaw on her, and as soon as it looked like Britt Baker was gonna get that lockjaw on her, Rio turned her around and got her for the 1, 2, 3. It's things like that. Like it's smart. Like, I know my opponent. I know where they are, what their weaknesses are, and I know where their setups are, and I know that I need to counter it. It's simple as that, guys. It is simple as that. Um, I feel like the other. I feel like with WWE, it's kind of like their logic is compounded into what a video game would be, like the logic of a video game would be. Like, if I go down this path, I only have these two options. If I go down this path, it's like an old LARP or old uh, text based RPG kind of thing, where you only have a couple of options to go, but logic is never the answer. And it just AEW just continues. And I know I sound like a fanboy. Like, I know it, I get it, but I've been impressed these past 3 weeks. I really have, and it's not. Maybe part of me is it's me yearning for wanting change and wanting something better, for the talent that I'm invested in. But I mean, that's what wrestling is supposed to be about. It's supposed to make you feel good. It's supposed to make you feel invested in a character. And I don't feel like I'm getting that any longer with WWE, just because a lot of the decisions that they've been making have just been very questionable. Um, so I mean, if you're not on this AEW band, you got to get on it, man. I'm just saying. Um, but great match, great match. Now, the women's division in a whole, I think it needs to be improved, in the sense that we need to see more women away from Riho. Like, Riho can have her match. Like, next week, I expect that Riho should have like a dark match, and then we get like Britt Baker and Brie Priestley or something like that going at it. Um, or Nyla Rose. I think we didn't see Nyla Rose last week, and she wasn't in this week either. So, like, we need to see Nyla. We need to see, uh, what's her name, um, Penelope Ford. We need to see some other ones, and I'm confident that we're gonna need to see Nyla or Penelope Ford next week for sure. And I think that you still need to, like, Awesome Kong. Haven't seen her, but I have seen her in some press photos. So maybe we get her next week too. Um, and if we do, that's great, because again, it goes to the testament that they are trying to cycle in and out their talent so that there's not a burnout. So kudos for that. We get the next match of the night, I believe, or the one that I, really was invested in, was the Kenny Omega, uh, Adam Page, versus Pac and John Moxley. This match was all kinds of fun. I mean, that's the best way I can sense it. It was a really good match. Um, my The thing that I liked the most about this match was actually how it ended, and specifically when I was telling you guys that wins and losses matter. There was a point in the match where Moxley got, I think it was a chair, and he was gonna bash Kenny Omega over it to get a disqualification. And before he had the opportunity to do that, Pac took it from him and threw it out the ring, saying, hey, you need to use your head and think. So Pac was thinking, I don't want to lose my perfect record. And John Moxley was like, I don't give a flip. I don't give a flip if this is a loss. I'm going to do what I want. He sticks the middle finger out, hits him with the paradigm shift or the dirty deeds, and then he leaves the ring and goes. And then, from there, both Adam Page, he hits the red eye, and Kenny Omega hits the V trigger, and, it was lights out for Pac, 1, 2, 3. But it made sense. I liked it. It was like Moxley's not going to take an official L until he fights Kenny Omega is my thing. Pac is most important about his record so that he can have championship opportunities. He gets screwed. So, you've got, like, it's logic. It just makes sense. It makes sense, and I like it. It's just, I guess I just have a problem with wrestling promotions treating all fans like they're dumb. And it shouldn't be like that. And I'm going into ASM. I hope you can hear my voice. ASM. Where the big boys play. Let's go. Enough of that. All right. So, the main event of the night, Darby Allin versus Chris Jericho. And you guys know I am really high on Darby Allin. Ever since the pay-per-view where he fought Cody, I've been all hands on deck. Like, Darby Allin has my full attention. Comes down with the skateboard. Dude just likes taking punishment and pain and just afflicting it. I love that he had like half of his body painted and the words everywhere saying champ, 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 champ. Like, I like that. Like, it was great. This match was amazing. So I'm going to tell you, and I should never question Chris Jericho, ever. But I was worried Chris Jericho wasn't going to be able to keep up with Darby Allin. Just because Darby Allin is like Speedy Gonzalez, man. One moment he's on the left, the other he's right behind you. The next moment he's up. Like, this dude is like everywhere. And Chris Jericho did a great job keeping up with him, man. I thought they worked. The chemistry in the ring together was amazing. I enjoyed it. There was a point in the match where Chris Jericho was like, dude, this guy is like, I'm putting him in the Boston Crab. And Excalibur, my man. And I didn't even think, yeah, it was you, bro. I got to take this time out, man. I got to get this. Look, we got this thing on the show called the Dunce of the Year. And I don't want you to be a victim of it because I know that you're trying, bro. I know that you're trying. But your boy's got to point it out. Look, if Chris Jericho is sitting on him and pulling back, okay, like sitting on him, that's a Boston Crab, my man. That's a Boston Crab, okay? If he's standing up and pulling back, that, my friend, is the walls of Jericho, okay? If he has him, if the neck is bent on the ground, the ear is touching the ground, and his knee is in the back of between his shoulder blades, and he's pulling back, that is the lion tamer, all right? You got to get him straight, my man. He had him in the Boston Crab all night, not the walls of Jericho, and I think JR said the walls of Jericho. And he didn't have him in the lion tamer at all. We haven't seen the lion tamer since WWE. But you guys got to get that right, man. Like, that, it irks me because I'm a huge Chris Jericho fan. When he debuted in WCW, like, that was my dude. And we just got to get his movesets right, man. Just saying. Little pet peeve. I digress. But yeah, the story of it was that Chris Jericho was trying to put this dude away, and he couldn't put him away. Like, everything he did, he couldn't put him away. So Jericho got frustrated because he put him in the Boston Crab, and he would not tap at all. Even, like, he wouldn't tap at all. So he put Darby Allin's arms around his back, and he taped it up. And for like the last 8 minutes of the match, Darby Allin was wrestling with his hands behind his back. He was doing things like he was doing suicide dives. He was doing backflips. Dude was doing, he did the coffin drop. Oh my God. Dude did the coffin drop with his arms behind his back. And the coffin, dude, I'm saying dude like someone's here right now. The coffin drop is an amazing move. Like that move is amazing. I don't know how he can continue to like that would hurt me. Like it hurts me watching him do the coffin drop, but I love it. Like that move is just it's awesome. It's just one of those. It's just one of it's like the Fuji special. Like I love the Fuji special. It's just it looks so simple, but damn man, it's how can your body just withstand all that pain continuously doing it? But yeah, he hit Jericho with the coffin drop, and I was like, man, this dude might win. Jack Hager ended up getting involved, and that was the match, and I'm okay with that. I mean, that's part of the part of the thing, and I like that they waited till the very end for that to happen. So it wasn't like a deal breaker. They haven't really been as a promotion really into all the shenanigans and stuff like that. So most of the matches, whether they're heel or face, have been pretty clean. But this one just made like the most sense out of it all. But Darby Allin is my Chris Jericho from back then. Like this is the horse that I will back from now until the end of time. Like he's just great. He's great, and he's a future champ. And I really really believe that if AEW does make a mid card belt, I'm not saying that they will or that they should, at least not right now, because the roster's too small. But I'm just saying, if they ever did, Darby Allin's got to be in consideration for that belt. He does. I know you. I know. Everyone wants to put it around like Hangman Page, and Hangman Page is the Sting of this organization. So he'll have his time once he has that feud like that. Once he finds his General Zod, he will like he'll be the face of the company. But until then, you guys gotta get behind Darby Allin because the dude just deserves all the smoke, all of it. So, um, but yeah, I mean that was pretty much it in a nutshell. Now, I was talking to you guys about AEW Dark earlier, and I told you that I wanted to elaborate on that. And as I said, AEW is it's I believe it's a week in the rears, but it debuts right before Dynamite on Wednesdays on YouTube, and it's a collection of dark matches that happened the week prior. And I love this concept because one, it's on YouTube and you can replay it at any time. But two, my thing that I like about it is it's kind of like watching 3 hours of wrestling. And these matches, like you would expect, like on Superstars, these are usually the people that you don't really that I shouldn't say that. On Superstars are usually wrestlers that you don't have that you're not fully invested in. With AEW Dark, it can literally be anyone, and it's good. Like we had Joey Janela versus uh, Kenny Omega in a lights out match, a lights out street fight match, unsanctioned matches, which is another thing. So if AEW has unsanctioned matches, those do not count against your win loss record, which I think that's pretty smart and ideal. Just I hope they don't abuse that. Um, but that's pretty awesome. But anyhow, that match was awesome. The match went on for like 20 minutes. It was great. Like the spots on there were amazing. They got hardcore. Like now I understand why the week prior Kenny Omega didn't like get too involved in the wrestling. It's because of the whole AEW Dark. We saw Penelope Ford and Brie Priestley, which I thought that was cool. Seeing them in a tag team match. We had the who else did we have? And we had some other talents, but I mean, and none of the matches are bad at all. Like I am legitimately like invested in all these matches, and I love it. I love it. AEW Dark is very smart, very very smart, and I I like it. I mean, it kind of gets me amped and ready to watch what's going to happen. And they even do recaps of what happened the week prior too, which I think is pretty cool and pretty smart too. So that way you're not lost in you're not lost in the shuffle. One of the other things I liked about AEW Dark is that they did like a kind of like a small mini documentary on the ref there. And the ref was actually, she was in WWE, specifically NXT, for a few months. And then all of a sudden she just kind of disappeared. And she goes into the story, and it's nothing disparaging or anything like that. She was just, she alluded that she really had a passion for doing the referee, but it was very difficult to get feedback on what she needed to improve on. So it was more of like, you're good, but we're gonna go in a different direction, and not giving us any feedback about why we're gonna go that way. So I like the fact that they had that intimate side of the ref, a position that we hardly ever get to know about, and they made it into something big, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think that they should do more of that. And it's a good buffer in between matches as well, because it just keeps us invested. So kudos for WWE, or WWE. Kudos for AEW for doing that, man. Doing all the right things, and just man, I'm enjoying it, man. So let me know what you guys think. Do you enjoy AEW? Put it down in the comment section on this video. If you listen to us on the podcast, make sure that you hit us up at Real WrestleCast, on Twitter or Instagram. It's Real Wrestling Podcast, all spelled out. And let us know your thoughts about this week in wrestling. And I also want to know, like, how are you keeping up with all three promotions, or four promotions: SmackDown, Raw, AEW, and NXT? Like, are you finding it easy or difficult to manage? Let me know, because I'd definitely be interested to see how that goes, and we can talk about it a little bit more next week. But that's going to be our show for this week, guys. We're going to go ahead and try to record a show Friday night or Saturday to cover SmackDown and Raw from the week. And we're definitely going to be talking about that backhand that Lacey Evans received from Io Shirai. Oh, I am so off today. Oh, my gosh. Kairi Sane. So we're definitely going to be talking about that, and what I think prompted her to actually hit her for real. So that's gonna be interesting. So, without further ado, guys, thank you so much for listening to us every week. It means a lot. It means the world. Make sure you guys communicate with us. We love listening, and hearing your feedback and hearing from you. Love one another. Respect one another. Y'all know the drill. Keep it real.